Welcome back to Grand Slam Sports. My name's Jace Hodge. Over on the desk is Charles Foster and Jackson Strasburger. And today we begin with MLB. The spring training has kicked off. And guys, the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani have kicked off. And Shohei, the question for him is, can he pitch or will he pitch this season in 2025?
Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I don't think he should. I mean, this is a team in the Dodgers that have pitching out the wazoo. I say keep him in a situation to where he's not forced to pitch because he doesn't need to. Now, he is a great pitcher. He could be a Cy Young winner. But coming off of Tommy John surgery, I mean, there is no reason to put him in that situation for a team that, let's be honest, is pretty much as good as they need to be.
I'm going to say I agree they don't need him to pitch, but he's going to. He is getting paid this absurd amount of money that we've never seen before in baseball to not pitch. That's why he got paid. He got paid because he could do both hit and pitch. I don't think he's a Cy Young candidate or even a chance of that. I don't even know if he's a #1 on his own team. He sits around a 3 ERA over his career, but he has this kind of specialty using 8 different pitches. That kind of shows off this different talent that he has.
I mean, yeah, Shohei, he brings the talent. But I just think with the addition of Sasaki, with the addition of Snell, this is a team that necessarily doesn't need to play the risk. Because if Shohei does get hurt, then they also lose the hitting. I mean, obviously, last time whenever he did get hurt, he was able to hit, with a brace on. But you don't want to put yourself at losing your best hitter whenever, let's be honest, this is World Series or bust with this Dodgers team.
I mean, look at last year. They were a World Series champion, and Shohei didn't pitch. They don't necessarily need the guy to pitch because they can win the World Series without his pitching. And they added even more batting, even more pitching. They don't need Shohei Ohtani to pitch this year.
I mean, yeah, we're going to see where he goes. And as he's currently working through spring training, but he is not pitching in spring training. And speaking of spring training, it's that time of the year where we overreact about literally everything. So I got a few questions for you guys. I'm going to ask you guys, are they overreactions, underreactions, or are they exactly right? We're going to start over here with Jackson. The first one I have, the Cubs are currently undefeated right now in spring training. Do you believe, or I guess overreaction is, the Cubs will win the NL Central?
I think they have the talent to do it. As a hater, I'm going to say no, they will not. I think they made the moves to get the Kyle Tucker. They made a better bullpen. There's just some question marks in their starting pitching that I don't really trust as much. They have a good prospect organization. That's kind of why they're doing so good right now, is they're using their young guys, but they're not going to start opening day. I think that NL Central is very weak. I think they could squeeze out a close one.
All right, so he's going to say an overreaction for that one. Jace, I go to you. AL East, the Blue Jays are struggling right now in their spring training. The Blue Jays will finish last in the AL East. Is that an overreaction, underreaction, or just right?
I think it's an overreaction. I don't put a lot into spring training. I think the Blue Jays have the talent. I think they're going to be probably second or third in the AL East with the Red Sox and the Yankees. I just don't see them finishing last.
Now, of course, one of the bigger questions throughout spring training, Luis Castillo. He has been one of the best pitchers for the Mariners. But this past year, not doing too hot, spring training not doing too hot as well. So the question I have, I guess the overreaction, Luis Castillo will digress to a 3rd or 4th rotation pitcher in 2025 for the Mariners.
Overreaction. I mean, I don't think he'll be the #1, and I think you have Gilbert that you kind of put above him, who's been pitching fantastically over the past few years, but I just see Luis Castillo as a generational guy for the Mariners and a guy that the Mariners can trust.
All right, and as we look at the White Sox they're atrocious. We're sticking to Chicago. The White Sox will 2-peat as the worst team in baseball history. Jace, overreaction, underreaction, just right?
I mean, it's not an overreaction because they are going to. I can even say it's an underreaction because they are genuinely that bad. The White Sox just don't have any talent whatsoever. They were the worst team in baseball for last year for a reason. They didn't add anything. They lost a little bit. I just don't see them being any good. I think it's an underreaction, and they're going to possibly be the worst team we've ever seen in Major League Baseball history.
Wow, okay. And then last one for you, Jackson. This will be Mike Trout's last season as an Angel. Underreaction, overreaction, what are you feeling?
That's a tough one. I can definitely see him leaving to go win, but at the same time, he is a lifelong Angel to me, and I just can't picture him in a different jersey. I think he stays with the Angels. I don't see him leaving. He fits to me just as the perfect candidate as an Angel.
Yankees fan over here. If Mike Trout does leave from a team that's not the Yankees, where do you believe Mike Trout could be going?
I don't think he leaves. That's just my opinion. I think he's, like Jackson said, he's a lifelong Angel. I just don't see him leaving the Angels. If he does, he's going to go to a team that's going to want to win. Yankees, Dodgers, Mets, just one of those teams that just needs an extra bat.
And speaking of winning, FanDuel now currently has out there over-unders on the win marks this year. So we're going to look at some of them. We're going to see, do you believe they're going to go over or under? Jace, I'm going to start with you this time. With your Yankees, they're currently projected to go 92.5 wins. Do you have them going over or under that? What are you feeling with the Yankees this year?
Under. The AL East is just too tough right now. I don't see them winning 90-plus games in the AL East the way it is right now. So I'm going to go under.
Now, I feel like the biggest question for the Yankees, though, and what I say with you, do you think that the Yankees will win the AL East, though?
I do.
All right. All right. A very, very, very assertive answer there. And in a very good division, I personally am Team Red Sox winning that division. But hey, we'll see. I think the team will be very good in that division. White Sox, they're currently at 54.5 wins. That's plus 13 from what they won last year. Over, under on that one.
Yeah, I think they're still going to be under that. I mean, they lost Garrett Crochet. They got worse. They did not get better. They're going to be about where they were last year, if not even worse. And I definitely see that's about right.
Now we have the question. There are a lot of bad teams in baseball this year, a lot more than we're somewhat used to. White Sox, Rockies, teams like that. Who do you have as the worst team in MLB this year? Do you believe it'll be the White Sox, or do you think a team like the Rockies will take? I mean, the Rockies will take that.
I think they're going to be in competition of it. I just think the division that the AL Central is completely different than the NL East. I think the Marlins are going to be near that bottom. They don't have a very good squad, a tough division to face the Phillies, the Mets, the Braves, week in and week out.
Absolutely. I was looking at the Astros, one of the biggest changes this season, 86.5 wins. They're currently slated to win their division. Jace, over or under that mark?
I'm going to go over.
Wow.
I think that they still win the AL West. It's going to be tough with the Mariners, but I think that they still have the roster. They're still the Astros. I'm going to take the over on the Astros to win the AL West.
So you have the AL, you have the Astros winning. This has been one of the biggest questions for us. I know we talked about it last week. Where are the Astros at? Do you think that they can actually make an ALCS push and stay at that top, or do you just think they're enough to make the playoffs?
I think they're enough to make the playoffs, win their division. I don't think they make it any further than the ALDS.
All right. And then last but not least, we have the Dodgers. They're currently slated to win 104 games. Do you think that's too much, or do you think they're going to hit that mark?
That's pretty much right where I think they'll be at. They're one of the best teams we've seen in baseball. There is a few question marks in their pitching. Can they keep up? Like, is Siaki going to be good? He was good in Japan. Now is he going to fit in here in the MLB? There's a few more, but I still think they have the bats to do it.
Exactly. The Dodgers had a very good offseason, of course, using their big market. I think the Dodgers right now are currently World Series or bust. If they do not win a World Series, this will be a disappointing year, and they're taking advantage of the LA market. We're going to take a quick break here, but we're going to talk about another LA team as we talk about Luka having a good comeback up next on Grand Slam Sports.
Charles mentioned Luka, so let's talk the new Lakers superstar. Jackson with me now on the video wall. Nate Long over with Charles Foster on the desk. Luka Doncic finally having some better games, 21 points and triple-double against the Mavericks the other day, 21 points last night in the win over the Timberwolves. Starting to play better, starting to figure out the Lakers system.
He's getting into himself. He's coming back from a rough injury, but he's still not shooting very well. Yeah, he got the triple-double, but he's shooting, 1 for 7 from 3 in that Mavs game. Just not good shot, not taking great shots.
I think the biggest thing with Luka has to be finding out the system. Luka now has a world of pressure on him. He's now in the LA market, and let's be honest, the Lakers, we say they didn't trade a lot, but Max Christie has been turning out really well for Dallas, and AD is a top defender when healthy, and I think that this Luka trade now, he has eyes on him, and if he does not perform, everything that Nico Harrison said was right about him. And the biggest thing has been he is starting off slow, but I'm not too worried about it.
I'm not too worried about it, and I disagree with your point of he needs to learn the system. Luka is the system. Everything runs through Luka, and LeBron has got to learn to kind of let him take the role. And the more Luka gets involved as the lead point guard of this team, he is going to do good things. The Lakers are winning right now. They're winning. They've won a little win streak. I think the Lakers, we'll talk about it a little later, but the Lakers can do some magical things come playoff time.
See, I mean, I still see LeBron as, their main guy. I mean, he's LeBron James for a reason. He is the GOAT of basketball. I mean, Luka, he's going to be that main option. Give it a year or two. Once LeBron retires, Luka will become that main Lakers superstar. But I think as long as you have LeBron James, he is going to be the main guy on that team. He's going to be the focal point of that team. I think Luka just needs to play that second role behind LeBron and just kind of play off of what LeBron wants and needs for this Lakers team to win.
You're completely right there. And then I think Luka, yeah, you're right. LeBron needs to step up and play his role. Keep Luka into the game, and Luka needs to find his shot. He'll get back to where he is. He's coming off of a big injury, missing a good chunk of the season. Now it's just finding his shot. He's kind of fit into this Lakers system, just not the way the Lakers want him to.
I'm actually disagreeing. Luka is the system in this team. Luka will be the system. He is the future of this team. He's brought in to be the future of this team. And LeBron is 40 years old. He has not been able to win a championship with the Lakers. And I mean, obviously, he won the championship in 2020 in the bubble. But the Lakers have not been where they need to be yet. And they went from a bottom-tier team to contenders because of Luka. Not because of LeBron, because they brought in Luka. Luka is the point guard of this team, and they need to run it through him. LeBron's going to have to take a little bit of a step back. I think this is the first time in LeBron's career that LeBron will not be the best player on his team.
I'm so glad I could convert you over to my opinion, because Luka is the system. And that's why you go and get a 25-year-old superstar. You get a 25-year-old superstar to run your team, to run your offense. And LeBron, he's already seen him taking a step back. He's taking a step back from being that primary ball handler. And as you see that, I think the Lakers can do something with that.
We'll talk more about the Lakers in a little bit, see if they're actually a contender. But first, Detroit basketball, Cade and them have won 8 in a row, and they've moved up to 6th place in the Eastern Conference, right behind Milwaukee and Indiana. Where's it going right for Detroit, and just how have they become so good so quickly after that bad season last year?
It's been that defensive side of the ball. They've also a young team learning to play together, and on the defense, they held the Celtics and the Clippers in their last 2 to 97 each, and those are some great offenses. You look at the Celtics, probably one of the best offenses there are in the NBA right now.
The Pistons are currently having a good run, which is great. Good for them. I mean, they have great defense, but they're not good. They're not a good basketball team, and that is the way it is. Because we talk about it, and we talk about it. Let's go back a month. The Portland Trailblazers went 9-1. Whoop-de-doo. They still suck, and that's the thing. That's where we're at right now, currently with the Pistons. I mean, yes, they're on a good run, but I think this is not a good team in the playoffs. They're not a good team in the playoffs, and they're going to be exposed by other teams in the East. That's going to be the biggest issue with the Pistons here. I do not believe that the Pistons are a true threat. I think that they are better than they've been, which is good for Detroit basketball. But whenever they go against an Eastern Conference playoff team, whenever they go against actual size, I do believe that they will be exposed.
You are completely wrong, Charles. Completely wrong. This Pistons team is good, and it's because of one player. It's Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham this season has averaged the most points per game in his career with 25. The most assists +2 at 9 assists per game, and he's averaging 6 rebounds a game, the most in his career as well. He has come alive. He's become that #1 pick that everyone thought he would be. He's become that in year 4, and that's why the Pistons can give you a run for the money.
Yeah, but I mean, we look at where they're going to be going against. They're going to be going against a Boston. They're going to be going against a Knicks, a Cavs. And let's be honest, he's not better than any of those star players. He's questionably better than some of those teams' second best players. I do not believe that they're at where they're at. Cade is a great player. He was a great #1 overall pick. But they are not there yet. They're not even close to being there yet, because I think if they go against a team like the Bucks, they go against any team with more than one good player, they're going to get exposed. And especially, that's wherever we're going to have to see Will Durant be able to actually play against some of these top centers, like a Jared Allen, like an Evan Mobley, a Kristaps Porzingis, a Cat. So that's what we're going to be able to see with this team. Is the Pistons actually ready? They're not there yet.
I would disagree to the fact that they are a young defensive team that can guard these so-called better players. And I think Cade's up there with one of the best players in the league. I think he's up there best this season. The way he's playing, I mean, he's carrying this Pistons team to this part. What do you guys think at the wall?
I completely agree. Cade Cunningham is a superstar. He's finally becoming what he was supposed to be, and now he has a team built around him, a good defense, and defense goes a long way in the playoffs. I agree with you, Nate, and I disagree with you, Charles. I think the Pistons are good and built to win some playoff games, maybe a playoff series now. Can they win the East? No way, not happening. But I think they are good enough to compete in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I'm not saying they are going to be a top contender in the East. I'm saying they're making a playoff game. They might win a playoff series or two, and they could really be dominant in the East in years to come.
Well, the Warriors are also hot. Since trading for Jimmy Butler, they've been on fire. And looking back at last night, Steph Curry just dropped 56 points on 12 made threes. The Warriors are feeling it, guys.
Absolutely, and Jimmy Butler really hasn't done much in the scoring department, only scoring 11 in his last 2, but he's averaging 16, and he's averaging more assists than we usually see, getting 5 rebounds and 5 assists, getting that good, finding his role in Golden State and more of the passing department, giving Curry the ball to find that shot that he's found.
I mean, I'm going to bring the same question I bring with the Warriors to the Pistons. I mean, obviously, this is an older team. They're in a win-now situation because Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, they're not getting any younger. So the biggest question is, can they compete in the West? And, I mean, I think hopefully the obvious answer is not. This is not a team that can compete in the West. But they are better. It is, they're a playoff team now, so that's good. But I do believe that this is their name is now in the playoff competition. But they're not going to get out of the second round. They're not beating a Nuggets. They're not beating any of these top teams in the West. In the Eastern Conference, maybe. But, I mean, unless we see some Steph Curry magic, I'm not too high on this Warriors team. I don't think they got too much better. I think they're just on a hot streak.
I think you're overhyping a little bit the Western Conference. I think that there are some good teams in there as well, but a lot of these teams have some flaws. They have some flaws all around. The Warriors have flaws as well. So you just can't count out Steph Curry. You can't count out Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green. They've done it. They've been there and they've done it. And I don't know if you can just automatically just count them out as, well, yeah, they're not going to win a playoff series.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Steph Curry, he has the Steph Curry magic, but that's not something you can really bank on. I mean, yes, Steph Curry, he's great. He's a fantastic player, fantastic in the 7-game series, but they're not a complete team. The Nuggets, who are a team that is top to bottom, they're pretty good. And who's going to stop a player like Jokic? Now, I've always said, you can't really stop a Jokic, but let's say I'll talk about a healthy Mavericks team. I still think a healthy Mavericks team could beat a Warriors team. I think the Lakers could beat a Warriors team. I'm just not high on this Warriors team actually making noise unless Steph Curry is averaging close to 30 points a game.
I would agree to a sense to the fact that, yeah, the Warriors may not be in the greatest situation. They're going to have to win some more games to get a favorable first-round matchup to make a run. But I really like your Mavs talk. I mean, I think the Mavs trading for AD works really well for the team. The only thing is, where is AD at right now?
Yeah, of
He's
course.
in street clothes. Mr. Street Clothes
yeah.
himself is nowhere to be seen on the court.
And maybe that's why the Lakers traded him, because he can't stay healthy. Speaking of the Lakers, are they actually contenders? You look at them now, they've gotten hot. They have Luka Doncic now. They have some really good pieces, but are they serious contenders in the Western Conference? They're 4th right now in the West, but can they actually compete with the OKCs and the Denvers?
I don't see it. I think they're too small. They don't have a true center to kind of play against the Jokic, play against the Chets, play against the bigger people that these top teams in the West have. I know the West has some drop off once you get past the Lakers and Golden State, but I don't know if they can be in that top 2 teams.
I'm 50-50. This is such a hard team because yes, on paper they're not a contender. On paper they're not. But watching their game against the Nuggets did open my eyes. I will give them that. JJ Redick is a top 5 coach in the NFL. I mean, in the NBA. He is a genius. And if you watch the way that he guarded Jokic, and I want you to sit there and I want you to, if you watch the game against the Nuggets, he double teamed him the entire time. He did not let him get the ball. Jokic had the worst game he had the entire season. JJ Redick found a way to stop Nikola Jokic. And without a good center, with Jackson Hayes as their center, they were able to limit Nikola Jokic. And to me, that shows that they can win a chess match against a good team. Now, in a 7-game series, Jokic is going to figure that out after a while. But I do believe that they can win those small chess matches, and that could be what could make them get slightly over the edge. Are they better than a team like the Lakers? Like the Thunder? No, but they do have that experience in having a player like LeBron, to where I do think that they could hop over that edge and potentially make a run.
First, we're going to talk about, you think that JJ Redick is a top 5 coach
I do.
in the NBA?
I think when it comes to his
mind,
mind,
I think is the wildest take. Other than that, I completely agree. I look at the Lakers team, you look at Luka Doncic, you look at LeBron James. LeBron James has been there and done that. Luka Doncic carried his team last season to the NBA Finals. Both those players can do a lot for your team. And when you look at the Lakers and you look at the West, yes, I mean, maybe Thunder's better, but they are young and inexperienced. That's just a fact. Rockets, young and inexperienced. Denver's been there. Well, who else? I mean, maybe the Warriors throw in there. Lakers are right there with experience with LeBron and Luka that I think could carry them there.
I think if the Lakers had gotten Mark Williams, I think they win the West. And I think they win it with fair ease. Now it's a little bit different. They don't have that, that true number 5, but I think they have enough talent in LeBron and Luka. Would you agree?
They have the talent. They're just missing that big piece. And especially when you have 7-footers who are stronger and bigger in that same conference, it's going to be hard.
We got more mock drafts, guys. Last week, it was Charles Foster. This week, it's me. We'll see if I can surprise you guys. This time I have some fun picks. That'll be up next. My mock draft on the NFL segment on Grand Slam Sports. Scouting Combine has kicked off in Indianapolis, and Abdul Carter not currently taking place and playing, as he might need surgery. It's possible. Little injury to Abdul Carter, guys.
Yeah, definitely, a stress injury, definitely not something you want to see, but at the same time, I'm not too worried about it. Abdul Carter is still, I know you guys hated on me last week, but he's still, in my opinion, the best pure talent in the draft, and I do not think that changes. So I do think, we're going to see, obviously, in your mock draft in a few seconds, if it causes him to slide or not. But Abdul Carter, he'll be just fine.
Abdul Carter is not the best talent in this draft. It is Travis Hunter, by far. We'll get aside from that real quick. Abdul Carter, I think he's going to be fine. I mean, it was a stress fracture to his foot. He may need surgery, but I think that he'll be able to be ready by the time to start the regular season, to start the preseason. So I don't really think it affects much in his draft stock.
You guys want to see if he slides or not?
I do, actually.
All right. Nate, I'm going to agree with you, by the way. Let's go ahead and go to picks 1 through 16. Number 1 overall is Travis Hunter. Going to the Titans, the best overall talent in this draft. We can look at number 2, Abdul Carter. No quarterbacks top 2. Maybe a surprise, but I do have the Giants. The Giants have to take quarterback. It's Cam Ward, guys. You got 4, Will Campbell. Pats need a tackle to protect Drake May. It just makes a lot of sense. Mason Graham, Shedeur Sanders, goes to the Raiders. He's been wanting to go there. He gets his wish. He heads to Vegas. Charles, your Jets, Will Johnson. How do you feel about that? It's a corner. It might not be the biggest need, but it is a need on the team.
As we look at what's left, it's what we would take. I mean, Will Johnson is the best cornerback in the draft, or I guess whatever you want to count Travis Hunter. He's the best pure cornerback in the draft. And now we talk about that. I mean, we're losing DJ Reed. The Jets are no DJ Reed. I like the pick. Normally, I think that this is a good pick. I would much prefer a O-lineman, but as we're seeing with the way your draft goes, this is the best pick where that Jets team is at. Definitely, I'm rocking with it.
And then, Nate, obviously you're a Browns fan. Abdul Carter at 2. Would you prefer Abdul or a quarterback?
At this point in my Browns liking, you could say, I think that we can't do anything with quarterbacks. So, you know what? It's not that bad of a take.
And, the reason I did that is because if you do end up trading Myles Garrett, he's going to be the one to fulfill that role. Abdul Carter would fill in right perfectly.
I would hope when you look at Abdul Carter, I hope Myles Garrett looks at it as, hey, join in the pass rush. We have a great pass rush now. Abdul Carter, Myles Garrett. Please.
This one, number 8 might be a reach. James Pierce Jr., but I think he's a dog. And I think the Panthers need a guy like him on that defense.
It's definitely a reach. Where they're at, it's not an amazing reach, like based on what's been taken. Because obviously I had Mason Graham falling to them, but it isn't necessarily where I would take James Pierce. I'd even consider trading back if I'm in the because he's questionable. He's talented, but I don't know how he will shake up in the NFL. James Pierce is kind of 50-50. Take him at 8, especially for a team that's yikes like the Panthers. I don't know if I take that risk.
And then I think at 9 with the Saints, McMillan, I think he's dead set going there. I think the Saints need a receiver to go alongside Olave. I think McMillan is the best receiver in this draft class. I think he goes to the Saints. I'm seeing a lot of nods from you guys.
I don't think McMillan's the best wide receiver talent in this draft. That's just a personal bias. I just don't see it as the best talent. I think there's 2 or 3 other guys that, I don't know if I would take them in that order, but 2 or 3 guys that can compete for that number 1 guy. I don't think this wide receiver draft class is that crazy either.
But, what is crazy is the tackles. There's a lot of tackles in the draft, 10 and 11, both going tackles, with the Bears going Kelvin Banks and the Niners going Josh Simmons. I think at this point, San Francisco got caught. They wanted Kelvin Banks. They needed a tackle, so they just go Josh Simmons. The Cowboys taking Ashton Genty is just kind of the pick that everyone expects. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to, but I just don't see any better fit than the Cowboys with Ashton Genty.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's been bothering me ever since I saw it. You have the Dolphins passing up on Malachi Starks.
I do.
Is this because you're a Colts fan and it's wishful thinking?
No,
you want them to get Malachi Starks? So you actually realistically have a Dolphins team losing Javon Holland?
Yes.
passing up on a talent like Malachi Starks.
Correct. I think the Dolphins need to get more physical on the offensive line. And I think Tyler Booker is exactly that guy. He's a big offensive guard. They need something to protect Tua. Tua was the most hit quarterback in the league this year. They need someone to protect Tua back there so he doesn't get injured again. So I don't think they need a safety. I think it's going to be a need in the offseason and free agency where the Dolphins can go pick up a safety and then get a guard or a tackle in the draft. Then I think the Colts, I don't think they go Tyler Warren. Knowing my Colts, they don't go the guy who we actually want. So I think we're going to go Malachi Starks. I think we need to fill that safety spot. The DB room is rough. The safety is a big need for us, and Starks will be the guy to fulfill that role.
I like the Starks pick. I just don't think he's going to be there at 14.
No.
And talking about 13, I think Tyler Booker goes a little bit earlier as well because of how good of a guard he is. I think he goes in maybe that 11th, 10th range. And I think I really just don't like the Pierce pick. I think that it's going to kind of shift. I think the O-lineman going to shift and Pierce is going to drop a little more than he is. But I don't hate the Starks pick 14 for the Colts.
A guy I'm very high on is Mike Green, the edge from Marshall. And then I have my first trade, the first mock draft trade that we've had. I have the Chargers trading up because you see one edge go. They need an edge rusher, so I think they trade up with Arizona in search of an edge rusher and Michael Williams from Georgia.
I did no trades personally in my mock draft, but I had Michael falling to them because the Chargers, Michael.
I think they're scared of the Cardinals because the Cardinals need an edge as well. So I think the Chargers just trade up. They give them a first and a fourth. This year's first and the fourth.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
I think one thing that we could see, talking about trades, Chiefs may trade up for an O-lineman.
I thought about it.
And I don't know how it's going to happen on paper, but looking at how bad the Chiefs' O-line was last season, I was confident that they're going to trade up for maybe not Will Campbell because that's a big jump for them from 31 to 4, but in that range of 10 to Kelvin Banks, I can see them trying to make that jump.
All right, guys, 1 through 16 done. Let's go to 17 through 32. 17th pick, Walter Nolan. The Bengals need defense. They go D-line. Charles, I already see your face. We'll get to whatever that is. So we'll get to whatever that is. I think the Bucs need a linebacker, so they go Jihad Campbell. Tyler Warren is going to Denver. Perfect fit. The Broncos need a tight end. Tyler Warren is going to revolutionize that offense with Bo Nix. Charles, your face is giving me something. What's caught your eye?
Chiefs. We're gonna jump down to 31.
Okay.
Taking a tight end.
Yes.
I see looking in the future.
Yep.
But their quarterback just got murdered like 2 weeks ago.
I understand.
And you have them going a position that they already have.
That they won't have next year.
But that's a next year problem. But this year, they don't have
Colston
an O-line.
Loveland is a great tight end. He's going to be a great tight end in this league. He's going to fulfill that Kelsey spot after he retires.
It's fair. It's a fair argument. It's a great argument.
I like Gray.
But this is still a team that needs O-line.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. I think they'll go O-line second and third round. I don't think that they won't go O-line. I just think Loveland is the best pick for them here to try to look into the future for what they need.
The logic is there. I don't like the pick, but the logic is there. So I digress.
Okay. Steelers get Luther Burden from Missouri. Very good receiver, very talented receiver. The Steelers need a receiver. He's going to go alongside Pickens. It's going to be a great offense there if they can get an actual quarterback that can throw the football to them. Shamar Stewart going from A&M. This guy just had an absolute great day at the Combine yesterday.
He's a dog.
And I think he might even rise. I could have put him up more because this edge class is just stacked.
Shamar Stewart had a great day. And I know before the Combine, I had him a little bit lower. And you could see already how the Combine has impacted you because I would definitely probably have him in my draft 2.0.
Yeah.
But I don't hate most of these picks at all, actually. I think most of them are pretty solid. But like I said, I just obviously have my gripes. Nate?
I have two that are just catching my eye that I'm a little confused about. First, start with number 30.
Yeah.
You're going to have, let's see here, Omar Hampton,
Yep.
a running back, going 2 running backs in the first round.
Yeah. Marion Hampton was the second best running back in college football last year behind Ashton Genty at North Carolina. And the Vikings, they need somebody in that halfback role that can be good. They need someone to go alongside, their new quarterback, and J.J. McCarthy next season.
You're an Aaron Jones hater.
Aaron Jones is older now. Aaron Jones is a veteran. They need some young guy that can come in and be their speed back. And Marion Hampton is exactly that. The Vikings' second biggest need right now is a running back. So they get one in the draft, Marion Hampton. They trade back because they know they can get him. So Buffalo trades up to get a D lineman, which is their biggest need by far, and get Kenneth Grant. I think the trade makes sense for both sides because for one, the Vikings, they only have 4 picks in this draft. They need draft capital, so they trade back. They get 2 extra picks in the 4th and 5th round with a trade for Buffalo.
I don't like, also, move on from pick 32. Jack Sawyer going first round.
It's an argument. There's a few edges there that I could have taken for the Eagles, but the Eagles do need an edge rusher. That's probably, I mean, they don't need to fill much, but that's one of the things that they can fill. And Jack Sawyer, you look back at the college football playoff, look what the dude did. He wrecked the game against Texas. He wrecked the game against Notre Dame. This guy is great, a great, great talent. Yes, he's older because he played all 4 years at Ohio State, but this guy is a game wrecker. And if he can come in and be an immediate impact player on this Eagles, he can just continue what the Eagles have already built.
Overall, I think this is a pretty solid draft. There's obviously some glaring disagreements, as there's going to be. But like I said, we set our drafts. But I think a pick I want to look at that would be great for a team like the Texans is we see our man Membo from Missouri. If he falls, I didn't have him falling in mind. But if he falls to the Texans, I think that's a great pick because that's what they need. There's
just so many tackles in this draft that someone's bound to fall.
Yeah.
And at this point, I think it was Membo because I think you look at 17 to 24, and those teams don't need tackles, so I think that Membo could fall all the way to Houston, and that'll really help C.J. Stroud in his protection.
What about the Chiefs? I mean, why are Chiefs taking Loveland?
I made my argument.
There's so many tackles out here, and we decide, hey, let's draft a tight end.
This is a tackle and guard heavy class. They can get one in the 2nd round. It's very easy. And then Loveland is right there for the taking to take over Kelsey's spot next season. Makes sense to me. Nate, we'll see what you think. He's on next week for the mock draft. We'll see that next time on Grand Slam Sports.